Hello guys, this is the Sorter Guy here and welcome back to a new video. This is something that I had not done in any time and I really want to get into this, so I really want to get into the lore, and that's why this video is called Into the Lore. Smash the thumbs up if you're liking these videos and stuff like that. Now let's get into the lore, and my first lore object is going to be Nathema Consiracy. I'm going to talk about all the connections and all of the characters returning, and major spoiler alert for you guys. If you didn't do the Nathema Consiracy, make sure you do, guys, before you're watching this video. Your spoiler alert has happened. Now let's get into this. So while you entering to the Flashpoint in story mode, you're getting a lot of conversations. So the first conversation is actually you getting to know Venatrius. Now Venatrius was the guy who talked, like that was the masked dude who helped Theron Shan in both Crisis of Umbara and both on the Traitor Among the Chiss. And also we're getting to know some other characters here that I actually really like to talk about. So the first person that you're getting to know is Zira, if your decision was killing Senya and Arkan as well. That's the person who's coming up, and you're getting to talk about. She was a fellow Knights of Zakul, and she wanted to help Senya with her mission and stuff like that. And pretty much that's the motivation that why she wants to help Venatrius for that. The other person that comes up with mine is Chila Nace. Now, Chila Nace, she is pissed off, to be perfectly honest, because now Arkan is with the Alliance instead of like Arkan has destroyed her homeworld and everything, and that's the motivation of her. That's why she is joining Venatrius' team. Now, the last person that I wanted to talk about, and that's where it gets interesting, it is Indo Zal. Now, Indo Zal is actually was already in the SWTOR universe and actually introduced in Knights of the Eternal Throne. And when you got health, actually Theron Shan introduced him as a character who helped us actually get into the Valen's compound when where the ceremony happened. That is one of the best episodes, by the way, there. And he helped us a lot, and there is actually two or three choices there how you can get in Indo Zal into this. But the main thing how you can get in is pretty much if you just one of the evil dudes. And if you decided to go for the light side, you get Chila Nace. If you decided to go for the dark side, you getting Zira, or pretty much killing Senya. But if you go for the other dark side, like the pure dark side, and for example leaving Senya but let Arkan die, or just some other decisions, you getting Indo Zal into the conversation. Now, the other character that is returning is actually Darth Malgus, which is really exciting to see back, because Darth Malgus we saw in the Dark Council back when you're doing the Warrior storyline and when you're fighting in the Council. That's where Malgus is just introduced there. But also you can see it in one of the Secret Droids missions when you're done in the cab, and that's where you got properly introduced to you as the player. But first you saw it in the Dark Council as well. He is part of the Dark Council, and his motivation, to be perfectly honest, is just two reasons, I think. The first one is a theory, because I think he's just scared of the power. Like, he joined the Alliance, like the Empire side has joined the Alliance, but I think he's just scared what this super weapon can done, or even what the Alliance has done after the whole conversation and the whole Alliance is just, for example, split it up or stuff like that. But, however, he also has the other motive, which is he wants to kill Lana Beniko, because obviously Lana Beniko was part of the Empire and everything, and now she is just a traitor. So obviously Darth Malgus wants to kill her immediately. So first off, when you enter into the planet, they're pretty much looking really similar where you actually saw or where you actually see Nathema before. It's pretty much like a dead planet, to be perfectly honest. But if you go one of the sides of the planet, you can actually see Wayland's compound or chamber where she was prisoned there, and that's where she learned all the power. And actually we saw this and we went in on Knights of the Eternal Throne as well. And it is really good to see that we are really not far away from this. So actually Valkorian's treasures and everything and this powerful machine is actually right next where Vaylin compound is, and actually just explains why Valkorian is loved this place, and that's why it was so close to the chamber with like this super weapon, why it was so close to the chamber. Now the first thing that you're going to see is other enemies that you not saw in Nathema before. Like when you entered first time in Knights of the Eternal Throne, it was nothing, it's just like a dead planet, to be perfectly honest. But when you enter the Flashpoint, you see creatures and you see zealots, and actually has an explaining for that. You can get this lore objective next to one of the early tents. You can get a data pad and you can get this lore in there. And also, these are the few zealots that actually served Valkorian in the Nathema stronghold. And it actually just stayed here and just fragmented in tribes. And all through they felt Valkorian's death in the Force. All of them refused to believe that is actually occurred, so they not believe that Valkorian is dead, so that's why they just stayed here. Wyatt and Domine will theorize about his current state of existence and how the best continue serving him have driven the Zealots into forming rival warring groups who raid and kill another interminably. Pretty much that's how it goes. And all of the Zealots still alive owe their survival to the Master's death and subsequent blooming of life and planets. That's why, to be perfectly honest, you see Zealots, and that's why you're going to see other creatures in here. And obviously, you're going to see the older Order of Zildrog as well. Also, they talked about this before in the Traitor Among the Chiss, but also it first mentioned on Crisis of Umbara and on Knights of the Eternal Throne. And Vinatrius was the military organized and like dedicated person who wants to kill the Outlander, pretty much us in this, and he was the leader of the Order of Zildrog and wanted to command or just wanted to destroy the Outlander. And the reason behind it, because Atreus blamed the Outlander for destroying the civilization that Valkorian built for them. So what they believed about what Valkorian has achieved in Zakul, it was so high. After the events that happened, so Valkorian died, Arkan either died or joined, or Vaylin just destroyed the whole Zakul. Doesn't really matter, he just blamed the Outlander. So that's why he wanted to destroy us, no matter what the cost is. And that's why he went into Zildrog. By the way, this whole Nathema Flashpoint and just the whole Knights of the Eternal Throne command and everything is just pretty much really based on a novel that is called The Old Republic Annihilation. That one is so into the lore as well, and I think it's just the size of the book as well, and just the connection into the Old Republic universe is really, really spot on. So let's talk about a little bit of the planets. So Nathema, originally known as Madrias, believe it or not, and it was an agri world located on the Nathema system, and obviously the Sith ruled it, and the Sith ruler Lord Drameth ruled it until he's got his illegitimate son Tenebrae, also known as Vitiate, also known as Valkorian, and all others. Now, Lord Vitiate and Madrias had a rulership between the Darth Lord, one of the Dark Lords of the Sith, which is called Mark Ragnos. Remaining of the planet Nathema, Vitiate kept his word, isolated from the power plays of his fellow Sith over the next century, and his isolation spread Nathema from the Great Hyperspace War. That's it pretty much, and I mean, other than that, all you need to do, it is pretty much a Sith planet. There was a lot of rituals happened in here, and it's just destroyed at all. Now let's talk about the most important thing in this Flashpoint, and if you're getting into the second boss, before you getting into a conversation. Now in this conversation, you can get a different dialogue in every character, every class. It's either going to be a dark side or a light side option. So let's talk about the Jedi Knight first. Jedi Knight, in the dark side option, you're going to talk about Bella Kawix. Now, Bella Kawix is actually introduced back in the first storyline, the prelude, when you are actually in Tython, and you're going to talk the you're going to talk to the Jedi Masters itself. This is actually before Orgus is taking us to like a Padawan, and also Master Kawix is the master of Kira Carson. Now this is where it gets interesting. Like, we actually not got Kira at all. So if you're going to see Kira returning, I want to see what happens when she finds out we killed her master, her former master, to be perfectly honest. I really want to see that happening, to be perfectly honest. So that is the dark side option. So that's where you got the connection with Master Kawix. And actually, if you're in the dark side option, she's not going to call you a Jedi, because you are not a Jedi anymore on her face. You're just, like, obviously a dark side character now. Now, the other character that you're going to see if you're decided to go for the light side option, you're going to see Servant 1. Now, Servant 1 is actually introduced on Rishi, but the funny thing is, it's actually not introduced in the Jedi Knight storyline. It's actually introduced on the Sith Warrior storyline. You're going to see Darth Wonrath first on Rishi, but after that you're going to see Servant 1. Now the two voice actors here is totally different compared to the ones that you heard on Rishi and compared to the ones to see you here. Now the funny thing is, Servant 1 is actually obviously the servant of the Emperor, and there was Servant 1 and Servant 2, I believe, and Servant 1 is like pretty much the crime holder. But what's the connection between the Jedi Knight? Actually, because he is the one who killed Vitiate actually twice. So once with Valkorion and once on the main storyline when you killed Vitiate or Valkorion or Tenebrae or whatever you're going to call him. So that's why you're probably going to see Servant 1, because he said you killed his master and all kinds of stuff, and you're just going to die because of that. So both of them are actually really good choices, and really good to see them back, especially Bella Kawix. It's actually really good to see her back here. And now let's move on to the Sith Warrior storyline, which gets even more interesting. Now on the dark side option, you're going to see Darth Ravage. Now Darth Ravage is actually introduced as well on the Sith Warrior storyline when you're going to see the council itself. And he is the one who was not happy when we got into the council. Like, he thinks we not deserved it, and he thinks we should do more after the final battle. So he is the one with like confused about it. Why is Darth Ravage actually decided to join Venatrius? Now the reason behind it, because two reasons. First, we killed Valkorion once again, but second, we killed Darth Barris, and with Darth Barris he labeled us a threat. So to be perfectly honest, when you kill Darth Barris in the end, in the final storyline, he is already threatening us and already targeted us, and we were all the way to a target until he sees an opportunity that he can get his revenge, and now this is his revenge. I think it is his best opportunity to see, and it's really good to see him all the way through the first like the ending of the main Sith Warrior storyline. It's so good to see. However, on the light side option, you're going to see someone that is really familiar, and it is really good to see him back, and that is Darth Malgus.
I feel your anger, Master.
Blind, deaf, comatose, lobotomy patient could feel my anger!
Okay, I'm officially scared.
This is impossible.
Darth Malgus is returning here as well. Now, what is the reason behind it? Pretty simple. He hated our guts, and we actually saved him. If you decided to go for the light side option for your story at the end, so pretty much not kill Barriss, you're going to see Darth Malgus here. That's the only way how you can see Darth Malgus, if you not killed him. But either way, now he is going to die. It doesn't really matter how it goes. And that is what, actually, I believe that I cannot believe I'm actually going to say this, but your decisions matter. After 6 or 7 years, your decisions is actually mattered. Like, the fact of the matter is you'd have a decision to save Darth Malgus, like 5 years ago when you done the storyline. 5 or 6 years ago when you done your main Sith Warrior storyline. And now the conclusion is it happened. Like, that's why you needed to wait so long for this opportunity to have this. I don't know why it came up before, but yeah, it's pretty much your mistake that left him alive and carved your destruction for so many years. And now, thanks to his, thanks to the Order, he's going to help the achieve the impossible, which is going to kill us. Obviously, that's not going to happen. So let's move on. Now, if you went through the dark side option of the Jedi Consular, you're going to see Gaiden Co. Now, Gaiden Co was actually introduced, and we actually decide to not hurt Gaiden Co at all. And you're going to see it in the Voss storyline. The reason behind it, they decided to pick Gaiden Co into this because he is actually related to the Emperor's right hand in terms of the Voss. Now, and he's pretty much thanked us to save him back when you done this storyline in Voss, but he's also decided to join because, again, because of Valkorian's death, and he felt it, and he decided we are more threat instead of Valkorian, so he decided to join. However, if you're going to stay with an option to not kill Sophia Fresh, which is going to be an option, obviously, because you're going to fight in this storyline, you're going to see Sophia Fresh in this. And the reason behind it is pretty simple. You not killed her first, so she is going to decide to kill you now, since she is betrayed and stuff like that. So, either way, both of the decisions are really decent, but not really that much of a big thing in terms of storyline on the Consular. Like, as you probably know, guys, the Consular storyline is not one of the best, but it don't really have that much of an exciting characters like Barriss or Bella Weeks. Like, that's the thing with the Consular. In here, you have the decision as well, and with Gaiden Co, I think it's a much more reasonable one instead of Sophia Fresh, but that's your decision, after all. Now, the next one is going to be the best one. One of the best one, I think. Now, in the dark side option on the Sith Inquisitor storyline, you're going to see one of the best characters and the funniest characters that you ever see in Star Wars The Old Republic, and that is Lord Zash. So, how she got into it. This is actually based on a story as well. When you're entering into an old Rakata system, where you're pretty much entering into an empty area, you can actually trap someone there. So that is a decision-based option as well. obviously a lot of people went in for the dark side option, so he is going to decide. If you decide to kill Darth Zash and just save Kambal, you're going to get Kambal yourself, and Darth Zash or Lord Zash is going to be staying in that vault for a long time until she now decide to get out of that old prison, and obviously she wants the revenge. And pretty much the order is the behind story is the order find her body, so that's how she's got reformed and probably not stronger since we're going to kill her once again, but she's decided to help the order because of this, and now she wants us that like a lot of times in the Inquisitor storyline, to be perfectly honest. But that's where it gets interesting. As I said before, that one is a based decision. So if you decide to put Kambal in there, you're going to see Kambal in this. And believe it or not, that is something that we not saw, and I'm not expected to see, to be perfectly honest, because they confirmed it in the Knights of the Eternal Empire, Eternal Throne, and Returning Companions. Kambal is not returning at all, and you're going to see Kambal here, and that is the reason why you're not going to see Kambal. That is this big simple reason, because if your decision is decided to be having Lord Zash instead of Kambal, you're going to see Kambal here, and that is just no point seeing Kambal twice. Now that's why you're not gonna get Kambal anymore. That is the explanation why you're not gonna get Kambal anymore. But I do not understand why, like in before Knights of the Eternal Throne, so on the Shadow Revenant and everything else, why you have Kambal there, I leave it up to you guys in the comment section down below. As I said, this is just like a lot of lore and a lot of theories, so if you have a lot of good stuffs in your mind, good theories, let me know down in the comment section below, and let's just talk about these lores because I love it. So the next one, let's talk about the Smuggler here. Now on the Smuggler, on the dark side option, if you decide to kill the Void Wolf at the end of your Smuggler storyline, you're going to see Nexia Curiel's debut. And the reason behind Nexia is joined Atreus. It's one simple reason: because you killed his father, the Void Wolf. Like, the Void Wolf back in the day, it was an interesting storyline. Like, on the Void Wolf, it is actually not said anything about her daughter or if she has a daughter. But now, I guess we figured it out that she has a daughter now, after all. So, that is good to see. But, and it is nice to see some of the lore. But other than that, not really much of a big thing to see Nexia here, to be perfectly honest. That one is for the dark side. Now, if you decided to go for the light side, you're going to see if you decide to go for the light side, you're going to see Master Suma Lee, which is, I don't understand what's the point of Master Suma Lee. That's what I left you guys on the comment section down below. I do not understand why she hated our gods, or why that she decided to join Atreus' team. Like, there is no point behind it. The alliances die, so the galaxy is, and no popular opinion among the Jedi. Like, I can understand that if you're a dark side character, but this one is actually on the light side one. So I do not understand this decision, or why they picked Master Suma Lee here, but the connection with Master Suma Lee, actually you're going to see Master Suma Lee, and you can actually flirt Master Suma Lee as well in a pretty funny way on one of the holo track records and all kinds of stuff. And he is a close, and she is a close friend with Risha as well, so it's nice to see him. It's pretty much like a dream team some sort, with her, Master Suma Lee, and someone else. But other than that, it's good to see her back, I guess. Now the next one is the Bounty Hunter that I wanted to talk about. On the Bounty Hunter, if you decided to go for the light side option, you're going to see Lord Windis there. Lord Vindis is actually the like the apprentice of Darth Tormund. You can actually kill Darth Norman, so you can have your decision based there. And pretty much that's the reason why she joined Vin Atreus' team, because he wants to kill and he wants to earn the right Darth. It's actually not really introduced, like Lord of Vindis, not really introduced. However, the other one is kind of introduced, because you're going to see the Chancellor's daughter, who actually have a decision there right at the end of your story, based on your bounty hunter. So the Supreme Chancellor's daughter that you're going to see in the end, if you are the dark side option. So if you are in the dark side option, you're going to see the Chancellor's daughter, which is going to be called Malia Janaris. Malia Janaris is actually just waited for this day because we killed her father. Like, that's the only reason. And she has actually introduced herself here for the first time, and you killed the Simply Chancellor for a handful of credits, because pretty much Darth Tormund said if you're going to kill the Chancellor, you're gonna get a lot of credits. But in the storyline, in the main bounty hunter storyline, you have this big decision with Supreme Chancellor Janaris, like the father figure of this, Malia Janaris. If you decide to go and kill Janaris, like the male version of Janaris, you're going to get this one. However, if you decide to kill Darth Tormund instead and take the bounty off and everything, then you're going to see Darth Tormund, or Lord Vindis, Darth Tormund's apprentice. Now let's talk about the Trooper. If you are on the light side of the Trooper storyline, you're gonna see General Esset. Now, General Esset has a small connection, and that is that you killed General Recton. That's where he come in with this storyline. Now, who is General Recton? Now, this is something that I actually not remembered, but General Recton is the guy who you actually faced on Corellia. That was like one of the final fights in there, and that is his, General Esset is his predecessor, who just wants to take, he's now taking Recton's place. Now, General Esset has really admired General Recton's work and accomplishment and what he done, so that's why he decided to join Vin Atreus' team and just pretty much want to get rid of us. However, if you are on the dark side option, you're going to see one of the best and beloved characters in the SWTOR universe, and that is General Garza. If you are on the dark side option, obviously you've done a lot of shit things, and General Garza is remembering almost all of them. That what you have done in the past, you have disintegrated the Havoc Squad and everything. It is one of the really, really good lores to see out of it. And believe it or not, as I said before, your decision matters. So what you have done on your main storyline, it actually not had an effect. But now, 5 years later, it had some effect. But you actually needed to wait 5 years to see that, to be perfectly honest. But anyway, the main thing is that you're going to see a lot of interesting characters return of this. Now, General Garza's returned for one reason only, just to remind us what we have done in Havoc Squad and all of the good things, and now we're just betraying it. That is some of the good lores that we see. Now, for the final one that I left the best out of last, which is going to be the Imperial Agent. Now, as we all know, the Imperial Agent is one of the most favorite ones for Charles Boyd, who wrote the Imperial Agent storyline. So let's talk about the Imperial Agent storyline. If you are on the dark side of the... If you are a dark side character of your Imperial Agent, you're gonna see Marcus Trent. Now, Marcus Trent is actually debuted in the game, but he is not debuting in the Old Republic universe. He is actually known as simply as the Director, and he is a human male spy in the SIS and the Galactic Republic. Now, he actually first appeared in SWTOR the Nathema Conspiracy. However, he first appeared in the Old Republic Lost Sons comic back in June 8, 2011. And he also appeared in the Old Republic Annihilation Old Republic novel, which is written by Drew. And now he's appeared, and he has so much background. He knows every character that we know of. He knows the High Council Master Ghost Dural. He know about the Ziost issue. He know about Satil Shan, Theron Shan, and know about Cypher 9 and everything. Obviously, with Cypher 9, it's going to get an issue in the comics and the novel as well, but I'm not gonna go deep into that. But the thing is, he has so much background, and this is so good to see him in the game now. Unfortunately, he dies, probably, but the thing is, this is something that a lot of people not expected. Like, probably those of you who are not familiar with the Old Republic lore, probably you don't know anything about this character. But if you're familiar with the lore, you should definitely surprise yourself when you're going to see Marcus Trent in the game, because he is helped General Garza to the Bureau Chief in Narshada and became an SIS agent and everything else. He has so much lore and background into it. Thank God that we're going to see him in the game. Now, if you're kind of a double agent and decided to go for the double agent role, you're going to see Keeper, but now also known as Shara Jen. Now, we not saw this character for a long time. We actually just say goodbye in Rishi, and we are really in a nice connection between the Keeper and Cypher 9. But now, she is introduced as Shara Jen here. If you're not familiar who is Shara Jen is, Shara Jen was also formerly known as Watcher 2 and later on Keeper. And we actually have a really nice storyline between the Cypher 9 and Watcher 2. We actually had like started at the beginning and helped us Darth Jadis defeat, and after all the decisions, and after all, you are a double agent, you going to decide to kill her. Now, that is something that a lot of people not expected to see, but I actually not expected to see, and also not expected to see as her full name, Shara Jen. But now, I know what's her name. It's not Keeper, not Watcher 2 anymore, it's Shara Jen that now we know of. Now, what's the connection between all of these storylines, to be perfectly honest? All of the storyline has just been a conclusion to the ending. Like, that is something that you have done in terms of Knights of the Eternal Throne, in terms of your storyline, and now that has come to an end. Now, this Flashpoint is just going to help you and finish up all of the stuff that you have done in the past, all of your decisions that you have done. Now it has come to an end. If you decided to save Darth Barris, you're going to see Darth Barris, but now everybody is going to end. Those persons who you have done something in the past, that is going to be the end of your storyline. And I think that is something that Star Wars The Old Republic needed, because we had a lot of plot twists that we don't know anything, and now it has come to an end, and thank God for that. Now let's talk about the ending here, and specifically Zildrog. Zildrog is actually, when we first saw it, or first that I know it, it's actually a mythical dragon. It's not really like a computer-based face. It is kind of like an old god himself. Under the old way, Zildrog was considered a terrible beast that means only death, and seen one of the many forms of Isaacs, chief among the old gods of Zakul. With the rise of the Eternal Empire, the old ways were generally discarded, and Zildrog became known only as the bedtime story about the creature out of the planet swamps, at least until the Nihilist cult, known as Hellos of Zildrog, came to power in Breakdown. In those of you who are not familiar, Knights of the Eternal Throne, that's where you're going to see the Order of Zildrog for the first time. And the heroes believed that Zildrog would one day return and raise the world, bringing death to all who did not believe. Obviously, Zildrog is just staying in Nathema as a super weapon, and Valkorion used this super weapon and just hide it to become kind of an immortal Sith Emperor, but obviously that's not happened because we destroyed Zildrog. Now, how is actually Zildrog connected with the Gravestone? That is something that I think not a lot of people will understand, and how he's got connected. Zildrog is actually, when he rised, he destroyed the super weapon thought not before Zildrog gained control of the Gravestone on Undecid. Now, how Zildrog have the control or gain the control of the Gravestone? Because since he's kind of a god himself, especially since Isaacs and everybody else, those of you who have not done Gods of the Machine, he is something that I think he is the father figure of those gods. As you see, the old ways, like the old gods themselves, like the Zakulian gods, Zildrog is actually the father, kind of the father of these gods. And since the Gravestone is made in Iocath as well, in Sons of Superform, probably the gods made the Gravestone even through traveling or just as a super weapon. So since the Gravestone is kind of a superpower as well, and Zildrog is kind of an old god, just like Isaacs and everybody else, it is really good to see Zildrog controlling the Gravestone, because they are both made, I think, on Iocath. And especially with the Iocath super weapons, since there is a lot of super weapons made on Iocath, obviously Zildrog has the power to control the Gravestone. Those of you who are not familiar, inside of that heart core of the Gravestone, that is something that we don't know anything about, but that is the power, that is the power source, that is how you can gain control. If somebody has enough power and kind of a god to control it, then you're going to have control of the Gravestone. So that is how Zildrog controlled the Gravestone. Pretty much he has enough power and the kind of a god to pretty much gain control of the Gravestone. But other than that, this was the Nathema Conspiracy lore and all of the answers that I can find in terms of this Flashpoint. Let me know in the comment section below if I missed anything, or do you guys want to see more? Let me know down in the comment section below. I hope you guys did enjoy it. I certainly did, and I will see you guys on the next one. Bye, guys.